once again, another Nostalgia Critic video for me to react to. And it's obvious that I'd have to do this one. And seeing as how it came out not long ago, yeah, that's right. The Nostalgia Critic has finally done a review on Disney and Pixar's The Incredibles. Yeah. Oh yeah, because the title of the video did change, because if any of you had seen the upload of this, and if you had seen it early, then you would have seen its original title, because, you know, something to do with Fantastic Four, etc. Yeah. Which, you know what, because I did notice it, because I noticed that in a couple of other past Nostalgia Critic videos, like, I think Treasure Planet, yeah, and, you know, Joshua, that. So, yeah, but as of now, it's just titled, you know, The Incredibles, Nostalgia Critic. So, yeah. I mean, who doesn't love The Incredibles? Yeah, because I do. It's my #2 favorite Pixar film. And, well, because, you know, me, along with my dad, we did a review on The Incredibles, if you want to go check that out. Yeah, because, for sure, The Incredibles took Pixar to yet another level. And especially, you know, when animation was still looking good, and finding new tools and stuff like that as these Pixar films proceed and so on. And you know, because The Incredibles was the first ever Pixar film where it had an all-human cast, because, well, the previous Pixar films at the time, you know, just centered on toys, bugs, monsters, and fish. And, you know, with, like, say, Finding Nemo, A Bug's Life, and Toy Story, well, those films, they did have humans. But most of the time, because, you know, centering, of course, on, you know, because, you know, it's in the title of those films, you know, from centering on the toys, the bugs, and the fish, as well as the monsters. Yeah, because Boo being really the only human that was in Monsters, Inc. Well, actually, no, because there was also that black kid that showed up at the end of Monsters, Inc. And aside from the simulated kid, the robot, that was a robot. But still, it was a robot made to look like a human. So, yeah. But especially when The Incredibles step in, that's when, yeah, because when it came to doing an all-star human cast, and you know what, it turned out really good. And, you know, the new tools that they made, and to do the human characters, like, you know, gel animation. I'm sure you heard of that, and especially because with the wardrobing, the hairs, yeah, it was amazing. And you know, because with The Incredibles, because it came out around the time when things were starting to take a dark turn for animation. Just computer animation stepped in, and hand-drawn animation, sadly, being a thing in the past. You know that story. And also how it was dealt with, like, you know, how it was covered, I should say. How it was covered in the Pixar documentary, The Pixar Story, yeah. Alright, but aside from that, yeah, so, again, it's great to see that, Doug Walker, as the Nostalgia Critic, finally doing a review on The Incredibles. And as we all know, Doug Walker had reviewed The Incredibles films for Disney-cember. And yeah, because Doug Walker, he enjoyed the first Incredibles film, and if I remember correctly, I think he was mixed on The Incredibles 2. But I mean, look, The Incredibles 2 was not bad at all. It was a pretty good sequel. But you know, obviously, it could not top off the first Incredibles film. Obviously. So, yeah. You know, besides, because, like, The Incredibles 2, it was, again, because it was a good sequel, and by The Incredibles 2, the color really popped, and, you know, bright and such. While in the first film, because the lighting and the mood of the first film. You know what I'm saying? Just, yeah. All right, but enough said. So, yeah, and I have no doubt that Doug, as the nostalgia critic, he's gonna have a lot of positive things to say. But there's no doubt about it, because it never fails in some movies. There are things to nitpick and such. Again, things to nitpick in really good films like The Incredibles. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be goofs in fantastic films. You get my point. So, yeah. Alright, so, without further ado, let's see what the Nostalgia Critic has to say on The Incredibles. And by the way, one more thing, because if you guys had seen the community post, because it was him, Doug, Tamara, and Malcolm, they were dressed up as superheroes, and that left us wondering, like, what is this is gonna be something superhero, like Fantastic Four or The Incredibles, and I, too, was leaning in thinking that, could it be The Incredibles? And when I got the notification, and just like, oh, yeah. So, clearly, and from what I can tell, and what was in one of the thumbnails for this, there's going to be some Fantastic Four to this, because the original title, is this better than Fantastic Four? You've seen the original title, but alright, so here we go. Starting the video in 3, 2, 1, begin.
This episode brought to you by Harry's. Get a shave that's a cut above the rest. Come check us out at Flashback.
Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
August 2nd to the 4th. Hope to see you there.
Did they just go to conventions at Chicago? Just, I'm just curious.
Wrong. That's all wrong, darling.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. Well, since they're doing yet another reboot of Fantastic Four, we decided to bring back the adequately impressive 3.
Yeah, but we're sick of it always sucking.
So we're taking notes from Edna about what we want to see in a new Fantastic Four movie.
Is talking your superpower or my kryptonite?
The thought is, if their superhero team can be better, our superhero team can be better.
Darling, you can't walk around in dark outfits like that.
Why not? Dark outfits are edgy.
You're superheroes. Your outfit should be your uniform that stands out when people need help. You can't all be Batman. Well, what do you prefer, yellow spandex?
As of now.
That'd be stupid.
Oh shit, we are behind on the times. Write that down.
Also, how many
Yeah.
times have you stopped?
Well, that's easy.
I don't think we've stopped any crimes. But you're superheroes.
Oh, right. Why do we keep forgetting that?
Write that down.
Oh, this is hopeless.
Look, it's not our fault that one of the greatest superhero teams of all time is constantly botched.
Yeah, we're not here to inspire.
We're here to exploit. Fine. But what about the family dynamic?
What do you mean?
The camaraderie, the resilience, the glue that keeps you all together.
So that's it? What, we some kind of superhero family?
Speaking of which...
Okay, we have to stop laughing at things, because then it happens.
Write that down.
You are a disgrace.
But at least we have no capes.
Capes are back in.
Hey, no fair. We didn't even laugh on that one and things still happened.
You have to want to be heroes,
Even
not just
Thor
make money.
has a cape.
Fluid system.
And Doctor
Literally,
Strange.
no one knows how to do that.
They
We're not
count.
even making money that great.
Well, take inspiration from an actual superhero family.
Oh, I remember this.
What money-making franchise was this from again?
It wasn't a franchise yet. How did they utilize their built-in audience? They didn't have a built-in audience.
Well, surely the studio had done superheroes before.
They barely even animated people before.
She's lying. There's no way this came from Hollywood.
It came from Disney. Well, now I know she's...
And Pixar.
It's been 20 years since the film fans called the real Fantastic Four movie The Incredibles. This had a few major firsts for Pixar. It was the first film to star human characters, the first to have a pretty high body count, and the first to focus on more hand-drawn designs as opposed to CG. Sure, the previous Pixar films certainly had storyboards and could be drawn in 2D, but it's clear they were designed as 3D models first. Hence why there's such a focus on plastic toys, reflective fish, and hairy monsters. Stuff computers are good at replicating. But rather than try to make the humans look real, something they really had trouble with at the time, director Brad Bird used his unique 2D designs and found a way to make them look exaggerated yet appealing in the 3D realm. So many of these characters look like they were drawings first. Hell, half of them just look like Iron Giant characters given a CG facelift. Plus, the movie dealt with
because of Brad Bird's
idea, but a rarely perfected
style
idea
of
at the time.
characters,
They focused on issues not often
character
explored
design,
in
that
either
is.
Pixar or superhero flicks either, like midlife crisis, career and family imbalance, standing out too much, not standing out enough. And at a time when we don't have a solid superhero family film from Marvel yet, The Incredibles did a good job filling that void. But 20 years later, does it still hold as strong a place in our super hearts as it did before? Well, let's take a closer look.
Yes, off with you. I will finish up with these two.
Hey, why does he get to leave?
Because she knows my critique will make our point stronger.
You gonna get in your
You
work?
just find it pretentious, don't you? It's the teeth. They're way too distracting.
The film opens on an interview with Mr. Incredible, played by Craig T. Nelson, Elastigirl, played by Holly Hunter, and not April Bowlby. Fear not, DC will stop him from just using...
Okay, he's in his
April
wardrobe.
Jones. And Frozone, played by Samuel L. Jackson.
Who wants the pressure of being super all the time?
Settle down.
I have to go back and
kidding?
look because
I'm at
of
the top of my
the
game.
Disney
I think
Infinity
I'd just
figure of
like to simple
Elastigirl.
life, relax a little and raise a family.
It's funny because the opposite happens, and then the opposite happens again. Yeah, Disney sequels really like that formula, don't they?
High-speed pursuit between police and armed gunmen is underway.
Cut to Mr. Incredible on his way to an event until a crime interrupts him, as well as Cat.
Like a squeak, I won't come down.
The suspense is terrible. Will Squeaker find the courage to find this all indifferent? He kills two birds with one stone, pleasing his #1 fan, a little boy named Buddy.
My name is Incrediboy. I know all your moves, your crime-fighting style, favorite catchphrases, everything.
Ready
I
and
am
willing
your
to be
#1
slapped for you.
fan.
He kicks him out and stops another crime with Elastigirl.
I work alone.
Well, I think you need
Not for long.
flexible.
And a kind of
Basically.
where he's going, you realize everybody took a break on the way there to stop the crime, showing how much their jobs truly
Oh
meant to
boy,
them.
what?
Also,
I can't-
This, that made me laugh.
I can't wait to see what he's gonna say about the "Where's my super suit" thing.
Hey, wait, who else you marrying? It is funny comparing the animation of 20 years ago
They're just
to now.
acting along
Fleshy
as,
textures are
you
a
know,
lot
because
more
their superhero job, right?
kawaii, should we say? But like I said, the designs are really appealing to look at. I think this
What,
will
words
play a
on the
big
box?
part in helping people realize the importance of utilizing a 2D style in 3D film. Except how he has no brow bone. That always drove me nuts. While stopping yet another crime. Jesus, is Bane in charge? What's up with this town? Stopping a villain named Bon Voyage.
I can fly. Can you fly?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Ridicule!
Very perceptive, making the mime French. Almost totally makes you overlook that he
No.
talks. He lets the
Quote
villain
from
get away
Silent
while saving
Movie,
Buddy,
Mel Brooks.
Who also causes a train to almost go off track.
You mean he got away? Skippy here made sure of that.
Incrediboy.
You're not affiliated with me.
I don't know you!
It turns out he's late to his wedding with Elastigirl.
I don't know you.
Things are looking chipper and bright until suddenly people start suing the hero.
No, he knows him, but he just doesn't want him as his
Causing damages while
sidekick.
saving people.
5 days later, another suit was filed by the victims of the L train accident. Incredible's court losses cost the government millions.
Another hero known as the Red Lobster is under a similar suit.
Yes. Mm.
Because of this, supers are forced to go into hiding as Mr. and Mrs. Incredible are now Bob and Helen Parr, living normal lives in suburbia. Helen adjusts well to it, but Bob is miserable as the color is literally sucked out of his life.
Don't tell me about that. Tell me how you're keeping Insuricare in the black.
It's Dinosaur from Toy Story! Sorry, I guess I couldn't decide what joke to go with there. They have two
Oh yeah,
kids as
obviously
well,
had
a
to
boy
do
named
something,
Dash, played by
Princess
Spencer
Bride,
Fox,
you know.
and Violet, played by Sarah Vowell. They have powers too, but they're forced to keep them a secret like their mom and dad.
Our powers made us special. Everyone's special, Dash. Which is another way of saying no one is.
I'd be comfortable if that was Disney's new slogan. Bob and Helen have differences on how to teach their kids to live with their powers, as Helen is watching out for their protection, but Bob doesn't want them to hold back who they are.
How fast do you think you were going?
We are not encouraging this.
I'm not encouraged.
Honey!
The plate had just one day left until retirement. Dash makes fun of Violet having a crush on a
Tony
boy, causing them to
Ridinger.
fight.
Hey, no force fields!
Not gonna lie, I always thought her having two powers was a little weird. It might be the only
Nothing
thing
wrong-
done better
nothing
in
wrong
the
with that.
Fantastic Four movies. They explain the invisibility in the force field a little better. I feel like you gotta give a superhero either a million powers or just one. It's kind of like saying the Hulk's strong and can turn his hand to Kermit the Frog. I don't know, it just doesn't sound right. Speaking of not sounding right, does anyone understand this joke?
The only normal one is Jack Jack, and he's not even toilet trained.
I'm lucky. Oh, I meant about being normal.
Dash prefers diapers. What's the mindset here? Bob goes out with
I never
Frozone,
questioned about
accompanied by
that.
Lucius, as the two are still incredibly addicted to stopping crimes in secret. I love the fact that the law is literally their mistress.
Bob is more. Lucius not that much.
Tropes, but were these two movies just watching each other while being made? No one suspects Bob is
I
up to
don't
his
know.
old tricks.
It's just a coincidence, I guess. Right?
The building was coming down anyway.
You knocked down a building?
There is such a thing as coincidence.
Kiss my collar. Why does he have to be so weird?
Reliving the glory days is better than acting like they didn't happen.
Yes, but this, our family, is what's happening now, Bob.
I like how they have to hide what makes them unique, and seeing how this does take place in the 60s, you could read a little bit into that and how not everyone was always welcome for how different they were. It's something I think always resonates in a lot of time periods, but at the same time, you can just look at it as a story about a family of superheroes. See, this is the kind of commentary I like. You can read several things into it because it's relatable to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Direct commentary is fine too, but there's way too much of it right now and often gets in the way of the story. You can interpret it a lot of different ways and it can mean something different for everyone. Except this guy, there's no debating. He was modeled after Stephen King, right?
I'm not happy, Bob.
Never thought of that.
Not happy.
Wait, you turn that sheet around, by the way. Some pretty funny stuff right down there. Even this commentary on insurance is
It'll take time to read it.
Are you saying we shouldn't help our
The
customers?
law requires that I answer
No.
We're supposed to help people.
We're supposed to help
Hurt people!
Yes, these jokes have been pretty common for a while, but again, I feel like today they would make this guy the villain. The rich person in a suit pulling the strings. Hell, they basically did later. And that's not what's fun about this world. You can have supervillains, but you can also just have little a-holes who are doing a smaller amount of harm, but still harm. And this variety of different characters shows there's different battles and antagonists that should
George
be fought in
Jetson's
different
boss,
ways.
same thing too.
Being a supervillain makes sense. Your boss, not so much.
How is he? He'll live. I'm fired, aren't I?
Oh, you think?
Now, if this psycho kid could get on a hockey team, anything's possible. He gets a call from a woman named Mirage, voiced by Elizabeth Pena, who says she has an interesting business.
You say voice, but you...
We have something in common.
I've gone on a couple of times pointing that out.
Neither of us exist.
I like this futuristic technology is very similar to the technology we have today. Though, I'm sorry, 3D TVs will never be a thing. Stop trying to make that thing!
The supers aren't gone, Mr. Incredible. You're still here. You can still do great things.
He gets nostalgic for the glory days and decides to take her up on her offer, telling Helen he has to go out on a business trip.
Is a top-secret prototype battle robot. Solve any problem it's confronted with.
It got smart enough to wonder why it had to take orders.
We lost control.
AI in a year or two. He's sent to the island of the Twisted Macaroon to take out the robot.
Oh, this is a great sequence. The Omnidroid fight.
Well, I do think this fight could be a little funnier and utilize the probability factor more. It is an impressively fast fight. The speed in which this thing moves does make it a legit threat. And when you find out who the test subjects were who made it that fast, it kind of makes it creepy. Again, the animation getting across more than you might originally think.
Like, Mr. Incredible...
Also a clever way to defeat it, as Bob is invited to dinner afterwards.
Why
With a volcano,
seems a bit unstable.
volcanic soil is among the most fertile on Earth.
The only thing we have to worry about is it falling in love. On that note, I'm really surprised the volcano doesn't erupt in this movie. It's kind of like Margie not giving birth in Fargo. It's refreshing, but a little weird. Bob is on cloud nine, connecting with his family more, getting in shape, and even going to his old costume designer, Edna Mode, to get a new suit.
What is it? Who are you? What do you want?
I got you gotten fat.
Come in, come.
This is also where the movie gets really funny.
Oh, yeah.
The comedy's been fine,
Especially when we come up to
honestly,
Edna
it's
Mode.
been a little light considering the concept, but when this character based on presumably a few famous designers shows up, it starts to kick into gear more. Originally, Lily Tomlin was going to play her, but when Brad Bird kept doing the voice for the animation test, she finally just said, "What do you need me for? You already have your Edna."
This is a hobo suit.
And Brad's got it.
I won't allow it.
You designed it.
I never look back, darling.
This, of course, leads to the famous no cape scene, talking about how they're more dangerous than helpful.
Knock it! Stratogear! Cape caught in a jet turbine! Delta Man! Express elevator! Diner guy! Snag on takeoff!
It's a good bit, but I hate it. Why? Because I had the exact same routine in a superhero comic I drew when I was 15 years old. Come on, a toilet joke was right there!
Well, how are they They didn't know. They didn't even know you did that, Doug.
We're introduced to Syndrome, voiced by Jason Lee, who it turns out was the little boy he tossed aside all those years ago.
You can't count on anyone, especially your heroes.
A Apparently Bird really wanted to push the animators past their comfort zone, so as a joke, the designers modeled the energetic control freak after him. Not gonna lie, I can never unsee this now.
I went through quite
It doesn't have that hair, like, syndrome.
But man, it wasn't good enough.
I'll admit I've seen Jason Lee as kind of an awkward actor, if not in the right role. But this is definitely the right role for him. He is both really funny and surprisingly menacing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
invented weapons, and now I have a weapon that only I know. You sly dog.
You got me monologuing.
I thought only supervillains and YouTube critics did that.
Your nemesis said it.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
He thinks he destroyed Mr. Incredible, though, giving this goofy his hell face.
Mr. Incredible terminated.
It's a face that says, I farted. I'm not gonna say it's me, but I want you to know it's me.
Here we see
If that face hasn't become a meme
very
already.
often very annoying bald-headed Douglas. Bald-headed Douglases are often lured out by their love of Harry's. Bald-headed Douglases
All
often
right,
hate overpaid.
let's we can skip the ad. So, like Doug on the floor rolling because that's funny. All right, so yeah, time out because what I have to say, and we're up to 16 minutes 56 seconds, and there's 11 minutes left. Okay, so one thing I wanted to point out, but, you know, because I didn't want to over-talk Doug, I hate doing that and such, well, because, yeah, about the Omnidroid fight sequence, a really good fighting sequence in the jungle. Well, and, you know, when the next one would happen, well, in Metroville? Yeah, I think so. Metroville? I think that sounds about right, yeah. You know, it's amazing because, like, none of the other, all the other superheroes, they lost. They lost to the Omnidroids, but Mr. Incredible succeeded. Like, I don't know, because maybe because of the superheroes, the other superheroes and their powers, maybe they just, because of the superpowers they had, they just couldn't stand a chance to those Omnidroids until enter Mr. Incredible, because yeah, Mr. Incredible, quick and easy enough to take down the Omnidroid, and well, the second time he did so, and you know that was great because you know. Because as Mr. Incredible says, you know, the only thing to penetrate itself, you know, it's itself, you know, because he gets a little flashback because of what happened when in the jungle and such, and with that Omnidroid, and yeah, because in order to take it out, just, you know, by like that device and such inside of it, that basically supplies the power in for the Omnidroid to move, and just launching a piece of the Omnidroid, because, you know, the claws, and yeah, launching it straight at the Omnidroid, and yeah, you get my point. That was so good. And yeah, because like with Edna Mode, yeah, because Lily Tomlin, she was originally considered to voice Edna Mode, but she felt that it was pointless, and, you know, when she heard that Brad was, you know, doing the voice of Edna for, like, scratch voice and so on, she felt that, yeah, Brad's got this. And I think, yeah, because the same went for the Pixar crew, because they felt as though, they felt so too, that Brad just, yeah, he is perfect for the voice role of Edna Mode. And by the way, because, also to mention this, and we'll get back to this, because at times, Doug Walker, as the Nostalgia Critic, would, you know, like, if he's reviewing an animated film, he would most of the time say, you know, played by so-and-so. But sometimes, and when it came up to Mirage, he said voiced by. Why can't he just stick with voiced by? I do that whenever I would review an animated film. I would say voiced by so-and-so. Like, I mean, I'm not complaining. I don't want to make a huge complaint about it and such. I'm just saying, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. You know, so I'm just saying, you know, and I'm sure you guys would think so too. Yeah, so, and by the way, a quick mentioning of, Bob Parr's boss, because, yeah, Doug made a good point on his tiny boss, and, because he's pretty much just an asshole of a boss. and just like say because I pointed this out, George Jetson's boss, from the Jetsons, pretty much the same thing too, but I don't know, because I wonder if there was ever a time where George Jetson's boss, became kind of nice at certain times, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe it did happen, I don't know. But I mean, and speaking more of like, say, Hanna-Barbera, because, like, take for example, Mr. Slate, from the Flintstones, Fred Flintstone's boss. I mean, he's not that bad. He's not as bad as, say, George Jetson's boss and Bob Parr's boss. So, yeah. Alright, but enough said. Let's get back to it. Time in. So, here we go.
Helen notices Bob's been acting weird, so she sees the last person he saw, Edna, who went to the trouble of making super suits.
The phone call is funny.
Edna mode.
And guessed.
Christ, fashion is dangerous. Speaking of which,
well, security, for one
everybody's
thing.
measurements.
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
The less I think about, the better. Bob manages to sneak his way.
You had to
into
throw
Joe's
that in,
headquarters,
huh?
Finding out a whole slew of heroes have been murdered trying to make the perfect killing machine. I like he checks on his friends and family.
That became a
to see
meme
if he
for a
knows their
while.
identity yet. It's not really a funny moment, but little touches like that make us appreciate them more as heroes.
Yeah, I mean, because he's worried. He'd be worried for them and make sure if they hadn't been discovered and their identities revealed yet.
It's like a mix between alien STD and a totally spies fetish. And Helen realizes he's in trouble and has to save him.
Dad's in trouble?
When?
Or Dad is the trouble? I mean, either he's in trouble or he's going to be.
Yeah, the family surprisingly hasn't gotten that much focus. This is something I think balanced out a lot better in the second film, as half the flick is mainly focused on Bob. But a little over halfway through, they do enter the story more. The kids
Some more, yeah.
Suits and sneak aboard a plane Helen is borrowing to head towards Syndrome. Okay, now the whole family's involved. Now we're gonna get some fun, wacky action.
Indian Golf 909 transmitting in the blind guard. Disengage.
That.
Disengage.
In a minute, I'm sure.
You have to put a force field around the plane. Disengage. Repeat. Disengage.
But that was a pretty intense.
About to get really zany.
That was a pretty intense sequence.
Mayday, mayday.
Zany goofy.
Put a field around us now.
Calm down, Doug. We'll get there.
That's Pixar. Not every character has to be Nemo's mom.
Abort.
Oh my God! Just make the force field, you bitch!
You've seen this movie, Doug. You know they survive.
Remember in the last movie when the little kid said boo? Yeah, that was cute. Jesus, that was intense. Actually, believe it or not, it was going to be even more intense. There's a version of the script where Helen did die. Lasseter voiced his concern, but said he would stand by Bird if he truly believed in it. It probably goes without saying they made the right choice. Killing Helen certainly would have been a dark risk, but it wouldn't have matched the rest of the tone at all.
No.
Even just saying that sentence, killing Helen, it just doesn't sound right in a Pixar movie about a family of superheroes.
No.
It'd be like having Bryan Cranston in a Godzilla film and getting rid. Oh, right. Well, it'd be like having a Wookiee Jedi for the first time and getting rid. Oh, right. Well, it'd be like having Steven Seagal in a Kurt Russell film and getting rid of. Okay, sometimes it works. Those suits really are indestructible, though, as Helen saves.
As
the
long
kids
as it's
while
done
Bob
right.
thinks they're dead and threatens Mirage if Syndrome doesn't release it.
I'll crush her.
Yeah, that sounds a little dark for you.
It was going to be part of an ABC spinoff, Quartz. He lets her go as the rest of the fam makes their way to the island in a pretty original way.
Yep. And they're.
This is what you get when you type in an image generator, The Incredibles boat.
Put these on. Your identity is your most valuable possession.
That's why you're covering up 1/9 of it?
Mom, what happened on the plane? I'm sorry. I wanted to.
It isn't your fault. It wasn't fair for me to suddenly ask so much of you.
Again, you could make the argument they might be taking this concept a touch too seriously, but again, it does really show the love and care this family has for each other, and that they're more than just their powers and quips. It makes them feel like a real functioning unit.
Yep.
They won't exercise restraint because you're children. They will kill you.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well,
You
still.
could also argue this helps give more power to the kids, as Helen, again, really acts like a mother, trying to protect them, but also makes it clear they are still capable of great strength, even in the face of great danger.
Yes.
You have more power than you realize. Don't think. If the time comes, you'll know what to do.
I was in college when this film came out, but I think if I was a kid watching this, these scenes probably would mean a lot to me. But, you know, it is still a cartoon about stretchy people.
Turn to the right.
What was that from? That audio clip.
I'm just gonna assume there's a lot of images of that online. There are. The internet's gonna internet.
Sadly, yes.
By Mirage, who felt betrayed by Syndrome.
Let's you lying, unfaithful creep.
How could I betray the perfect woman?
Once more, I really like how the humor comes from a surprisingly positive place of Helen wanting to start a fight with Bob, but he's just so excited she's dead.
And now we're running for our lives through some godforsaken jungle?
You keep trying to pick a fight, but I'm still just happy you're alive.
I've known a few couples who'd probably be happier with the flip of that. As morning arrives, the kids are discovered and they use their powers to outwit the henchmen. It took a while.
Did he
to
say
get
as
there, but these
horny
scenes are
arrives?
awesome. Dash from
Yes.
the Guards is easily in the top 3 best Pixar action sequences.
Oh yeah. And the music, Michael Giacchino, go along with this. And the sound effects, just
I don't
everything.
even have much to say. I just get really sucked into how well done this scene is. Now let's see time travel to when CG effects are less impressive than this Pixar movie. The future.
Oh, you're all right. We're so worried about you.
The family meets up, but they get caught by Syndrome, leading to my personal favorite line.
You married Elastigirl? And got busy!
First PG Pixar movie, too.
Yeah.
Syndrome locks them up and releases the robot on the city, pretending to save them and be the hero he always wanted to be.
I'll sell my invention so that everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
It's interesting. Both this and Lion King subtly introduce the idea that maybe some villains aren't born evil, they just never grow out their childlike selfishness. Both films have a kid saying a variation of a line the grown-up bad guy says when they're in control.
There's more to being king than getting your way all the time.
There's more?
I am a king.
Simba.
I can do whatever I want.
Everyone's special, Dash, which is another way of saying no one is.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Or maybe it's showing that Dash and Simba will one day be supervillains. Probably not, but I want to see those sequels. They end up escaping, though, and make their way to the city to stop the robot. As Syndrome ends up causing more damage trying to save the day. By the way, good callback. And you know those try to watch without singing videos? I bet for most of you, it's hard to watch this without singing along.
Where's my
Super suit?
What?
Sometimes.
Is my
Super suit!
I'm actually shocked more people haven't dubbed this over other Samuel L. Jackson roles, so here's the best one I could come up with.
Where's my super suit?
What?
Where is my super suit? What? You tell me what I saw this woman?
It's not bad, but I feel like there's others. Play around with it. We get a nice moment of Bob saying he doesn't want them to fight because he can't bear
Maybe like
losing
Revenge of the Sith is a good one. Because of Palpatine, that whole thing.
Like before, this might seem a touch heavy and out of nowhere, but if you imagine the film without it, Bob just breaks the rules and gets what he wants. Like, sure, you can do that, showing passion will
A
always
midlife
find a way,
crisis,
but
because
this
he
scene,
hates
you do see the thread of them
not
really messed him
the
up.
glorial
Seeing not only how he
days
should
being
value
gone,
them
you know.
more, but also how he should let them more into his world, and likewise be more in their world. It's a touch sudden, but it does add a lot. This fight is also really great with everybody pulling their weight and
Frozone
eventually
found a
taking out the
suit.
machine, winning over the public once more.
That's the way to do it. That's old school.
Yeah? No school like the old school.
Yeah, go back to the railroad, you old man. Back at home, though.
And Frank and Ollie, they did have some involvement in The Incredibles.
Though he has powers as well, and of course, a cape is what ends up doing him in.
Gruesome death.
Still would have been funnier if it was death by toilet. Violet
Holy
uses her
smokes.
force field to protect them all from the explosion.
That was totally wicked!
Wicked!
Ah, so this town is in Boston.
He didn't talk that much. He didn't say anything about the kid on the trike.
And Violet works up the nerve to ask a boy she likes out.
Do you know?
I like movies. I'll buy the popcorn.
Just don't hand me a soda during the funny scenes. Another villain attacks the city.
Yeah, it's nice we got more of Tony in the sequel.
They're gonna go back into hiding again. It's a little weird, but I still like it. And by God, I still really like this film because it really holds up.
Yep.
Like I mentioned, I do wish there was a bit more of the family as a whole and not quite as much focus on Bob. But it does make sense he would be the one that gets the wheels going, and I suppose waiting for them does build up finally seeing the family function as a team. Sometimes the jokes could be a little funnier too, but that's made up by the fact that this is a very believable family. You really feel how connected they are, and that creates some really good chemistry. I think it's focusing less on making you laugh and more on how exciting and fantastical having a super family could be. No doubt making the idea even more believable to younger viewers. If you really feel the family dynamic, you feel like you're really there fighting crime with them, and I think that's a big part of what makes them so endearing.
Yep.
It's got a lot of heart and a lot of energy, which 20 years later still makes the film pretty super.
Yes.
So, what have we decided for the adequate
Fitting last shot of The
That
Incredibles.
you're an incredibly dysfunctional
To show.
family, and they're getting emancipated from you.
What? We're not even related.
See how he talks to us?
Like we're not even blood.
We're not blood.
Do you see this?
And he was quick enough to get back in his
You can live
wardrobe,
with me
you know,
until
the
separation
superhero
is
wardrobe.
Thank you, Edna.
You're a good mother.
She's not your mother.
How do you explain why we look so much alike?
A mother-like
We're the same
figure.
person.
Well, you would bring that up.
So insensitive.
You're changing costumes in between takes.
Come, my darlings. Let Mama Edna shield you from the evil crew.
We love you, Mama Edna.
You truly get us.
Yeah, I'll see you two in the same shot.
Out we go, my pets.
Yeah, now let's see. No, don't cut to me. Now gives Tamara a chance to be in the next. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Hey, find Edna back here. Let's see you two in the same room.
We're too traumatized.
It's the same person.
Yeah, but
And got busy!
that's part of the skit, you know, Tamara playing two roles.
This month for Cameos for Charity, we're doing Red Cross. Well, there's
You know, there could have been, they're just like, you, like, picking so many good quotes and lines from The Incredibles to play when the Channel Awesome logo shows, and you went with that one, you know, and got busy! Okay, so yeah, the charity shout-out as always, and yeah, so that was the Nostalgia Critics review of The Incredibles. Yeah, that was a pretty good review. Yeah, I mean, there were some few things, like, yeah, understandable, and, geez, I had no idea. I did want to bring this up, and now that the video's over, because I had no idea. I actually had no idea. I mean, was it ever brought up? Like, I don't seem to recall, like, when looking at the behind-the-scenes of The Incredibles and such, that it was never brought up, from what I've seen, that apparently, in the original script, Helen dies in the plane sequence. However, there was another alternate version, you know, it was storyboarded and such, and it was one of the deleted scenes, and it would make its way on the DVD and such. There was an alternate version where Helen was not flying the plane, it was actually her pilot buddy, Snug. Yeah, Snug, yeah. Who we heard on the phone, and let me think. Yeah, so that was, so we technically would have seen him on screen. I mean, with the exception of seeing him in a photo, yeah, because we would actually see him on screen, and you know, the voice of Snug, yeah, having more dialogue and such. So he was flying the plane, and then of course you have Syndrome's missiles coming in, and then when the plane is destroyed from the missiles, well, yeah, we have Helen, Violet, and Dash, you know, landing in the ocean, and when the remaining plane crashes into the ocean, we can see Snug's hat, because Snug was wearing a hat, and it's floating in the water, and yeah, because he did not make it, obviously, and yeah, that was dark, and I think it's good that they didn't go with that, and, you know, just spare Snug, so, because, you know, it was very fitting, and it made sense in the final film, Snug lending Helen a jet/plane, I mean, yeah, it is a jet, so, yeah. And yeah, just, again, that jet sequence where Syndrome's missiles come in, and, oh, I just love this, because, you know, like, Mr. Incredible, you know, begging Syndrome to cut off the missiles, and, you know, I'll do anything, and Syndrome's response, too late. 15 years too late. God, that's so good. It just shows you, just like, Syndrome, humorous and a psychopathic villain. And one of the top best villains from Pixar. Because I'd say there's him, and there's Lotso, and especially Hopper. Hopper from A Bug's Life. Yeah. I think Hopper, Syndrome, and Lotso, they're probably the three best evil villains from Pixar. You know, they're good villains. I can think of others, like, well, Randall's a good one too, so is Waternoose, and, you know, need I go on, so yeah. But, yeah, so, and is there anything else I want to point out? Well, I don't know, because, yeah, I mean, again, I had a feeling as though he would talk about the where's my super suit bit, and he did, of course, and, yeah, like, when him dubbing Pulp Fiction, and another good one, Revenge of the Sith, you know, just Mace Windu having his lightsaber be pointed at Palpatine and, where's my super suit, my lord? That'd be so good. I could do it if I want to, and if I would do like a YouTube poop or something, just no matter what, and why hasn't anybody else done it? That is perfect. Because I've seen plenty of, like, I guess like YouTube poops or something where they insert audio clips of Samuel L. Jackson to Mace Windu, and they're pretty hilarious. Like I've seen one YouTube poop of Revenge of the Sith where, you know, because when Chancellor Palpatine returns and Mace Windu, he says, "Chancellor, I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative." That was good. Oh, that was good. So, yeah, but just, you know, overall, because what Doug, as the Nostalgia Critic, he had to say about The Incredibles, well said, and yeah, with some things understandable, and, yeah, so, I mean, I think what I've had to say, and at the, you know, towards the end of this reaction video, yeah, well said, and, you know, what I can think of to say, but yeah, and I don't want to keep this reaction video going on that long, so yeah, I mean, I can go on talking more about The Incredibles and anything else I can think of what Doug, as the Nostalgia Critic, had to say of The Incredibles, but yeah, and he's right, because it's still a great Pixar film, and one of the best, and I'd say, yeah, one of Pixar's top gems. Clearly. Just yeah. So, yeah, again, overall, the Nostalgia Critic's review of the first Incredibles film. Really well done, and yeah, because, like I said, you know, Doug, you know, because he really enjoys The Incredibles, and clearly, because him as the Nostalgia Critic having some positive things to say. Yeah, so again, the Nostalgia Critic video, his review on The Incredibles, really good. And yeah, because, the mentioning of Fantastic Four, that was at the beginning, so yeah. Okay, so what about you guys? What did you think of the Nostalgia Critic video itself, his review on The Incredibles? Do you agree on what he had to say about the first Incredibles film? You know, anything that you agree that, like he pointed out and such, you know, understandable and so on. Did you get some good laughs? I mean, I did. You saw my reaction. I got some pretty good laughs and chuckles. Yeah, just overall, what did you think of the Nostalgia Critic video itself? You know, no doubt about it, you guys as well love The Incredibles. And with what I've had to say, and with my reaction to the Nostalgia Critic video, and yeah, what did you think of my reaction? Leave comments, and give this reaction video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Incredibles. More reaction videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / reaction. Take care, happy anniversary to The Incredibles, and peace out. We are talking about the greater good!